Om Vakratunda
Kritunda
Mahakaya
Mahakaya
Suryakoti
Suryakoti
Samaprabha
Samaprabha
Nirvignam
Nirvignam Kuru Me
Kurume
Deva
Deva Sarvakaryeshu
Sarvakaryeshu
Sarvada
Sarvada
Saraswati
Saraswati
Namastubhyam
Namastubhyam Varade
Varade
Kamarupini
Kamarupini
Vidyarambham
Vidyarambham
Karishyami
Karishyami
Siddhir
Siddhir
Bhavatu Me
Bhavatu Me
Sada
Sada Gurur
Guru
Brahma
Brahma Guru
Gurur
Vishnu
Vishnu Gurur
Guru Devo
Devo Maheshwaraha
Maheshwaraha
Guru
Guru Sakshat
Sakshat
Param
Param
Brahma
Brahman
Tasmai
Tasmai
Shri
Shri
Gurave
Gurave
Namaha
Namaha
Om
Om
Sahana
Sahana
Vavatu
Bhavatu
Sahano
Sahana
Bhunaktu
Bhunaktu
Sahaviryam
Sahaviryam
Karavavahe
Karavavahe
Tejasvinavadhitamastu
Tejasvinavadhitamastu
Ma
ma
Vidvishavahe
vidvishavahe
Om
Om
Shanti
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 Shanti Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha
Atadvitiyodhyayah
अथ द्वितीयोऽध्यायः
Shri Bhagavanuvacha
श्रीभगवानुवाच
Shloka number 49 Durena Hyevaram Karma
दूरेण ह्यवरं कर्म
Buddhi Yoga Dhananjaya
बुद्धियोगादनञ्जय
Buddhau Sharanaman
बुद्धौ शरणमन्विच्छ
Kripana Palahetavaha
कुप्रनः फलहेतवः
Buddhi Yukto Jahatiha
बुद्धियोधो जहातीह
Ubhe Sukruta Dushkrute
उभे सुकृतदुष्कृते
Tasmad Yogaya Yujyasva
तस्माद्योगाय युज्यस्व
Yoga Karma Sukaushalam
योगः कर्मसु कौशलम्
Karmajam Buddhi Yuktahi
कर्मजं बुद्धियुक्ता हि
Phalam Tyaktva Manishinaha
फलं त्यक्त्वा मनीषिणः
Janma Vinirmuktaha
जन्मबन्धानि विनिर्मुक्ताः
Padam Gacchantya
पदं गच्छन्त्यमा नामयम्.
Up to that we have seen 51. Yogaha Karmasu Kaushalam, important definition. Discretion in action in the shloka number 50 and in the shloka number 48, Samattam Yoga Uchate. And in the last shloka we saw Buddhi Yuktaha, endowed with Karma Yoga Buddhi, which is a means for jnana, which is a means for jnana yogyata prapti. By that jnanam, the form of akarta, abhokta is meant. Therefore, palam tyaktva, giving up the palam, papa punyam. And therefore, by that, janma bandha vinid muktaha, being freed from janma bandha, the bondage due to janma. Janma is because of karma, karma pala. Therefore, karma pala being not there, therefore there is no janma. Therefore, they gain the padam, the ultimate abode, which is moksha, which is anamayam, free from affliction. That is moksha. Iti asya shloka we saw. The next shloka, shloka number 52, we will read. In the next shloka, Krishna told Arjuna that he would attain this when his mind was no longer deluded. That is, one would attain this this padam, anamayam padam, when the mind is no longer deluded. Let us read the shloka. Yada te moha kalilam
Yada te moha kalilam
buddhir vyatitarishyati
buddhir vyatitha rishyati
tata tada gantasi nirvedam
tadha gandhasi nirvedam
shrotavyasya shrutasya cha
Shrutavyasya shrutasya cha
yada tada yada te te is tava your, that is hey Arjuna tava buddhihi moha buddhihi vyatitarishati vyatitarishati cross overs this kalilam, the impurities of moha, delusion. Tada, then gantasi nirvedam parikshalokan karmachitan brahmanaha nirvedamayat nastyakrata krathena in Mundakopanishad. Nirvedam, the word is that it means vairagyam ityartaha. Tada nirvedam vairagyam gantasi, you will gain vairagyam gantasi, lutlakara, one of the future tense, gantasi. With regard to shrotavyasya shrutasya cha, with regard to what is heard and what is to be heard. So you will gain a dispassion. That is, yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadanti vipaschitaha vedavad ratah patananit dastiti vadinaha, the shloka went before. That is, they talk flowery words. They talk flowery words and na anyat, other than doing nothing is there. So for them, Sargaloka is the end, is a goal. So they speak very nice, flowery words. That is with regard to hearing such words. With regard to such words, what is heard and what shall be heard, you should have dispassion. Don't be carried away by all this. That is the idea. That is what here Bhagavan says. So when your mind is no longer carried away by such other views, that is, when you enjoy vivasayatmika buddhi, when your buddhi is, conviction is strong with regard to the goal, what is to be gained, then moha kalilam vidita, then you cross over this moha, the samsara. So therefore, moha is because of aviveka. So therefore, when you have viveka, you cross over this moha kalilam. Delusion, okay, when your intellect crosses over the impurity of delusion, then you shall gain a dispassion towards what has been heard and what is yet to be heard. Delusion is in the form of absence of discrimination. Viveka. Aviveka is, because of aviveka, the delusion is lack of discrimination. Aviveka makes a person go towards objects and not towards the Atma, the self. Therefore, only they are carried away by the flowery words, the pleasant goals, prayas, prayorti. Because Viveka not there, the person's mind goes towards objects as they are going to take him to the Atma, as though they are going to take. But it will not. It will delude the person more and more. Therefore, even though the solution to my problem is myself, I always think of it as being elsewhere, outside of me. There is no greater delusion in this world than wanting a solution to a problem that is centered on the I and expecting the solution to be outside of the I. In spite of knowing people, they look for solution outside of the I. That is Maya. I am the problem, therefore I am the solution. If I am the problem, the problem is centered on I, where the solution would be. Should it be outside of I or centered, or it is I? That's why Viveka, this great delusion, Maha Moha, is due to a lack of understanding of what I am about, what the world can give and what my problem is, what I really want, and so on. The impurity, kalila, of this delusion is what is given up by viveka, discriminating between atma and anatma, atma anatma viveka. The verse goes on to say, when your mind is no longer under the spell of moha, you gain vairagyam, dispassion, nirvedam, with reference to what you have heard and what you have yet to hear. You have heard a lot of memes. You have heard a lot of memes and a lot of hence they are shruta. Where it is shruta, that already we have seen. That's what I said. Yamimam pushpitam vacham parvadanti vipaschitaha vedavadarataha pata nanidastiti vadinaha kamatmanaha surgaparaha janma karma palapadam kriya vishesha bhagulam bhogeshwaryam gati prati. Shloka number 42, 43 and those shlokas. So they are all on your list of things to do later. Then there are a few more means and ends that you have not heard about. They are to be heard later, Shrotabhya. What has been heard and what is to be heard. They all come under the heading of Shrotabhya. When you think, I should read this and find out. Therefore, dispassion towards what you have heard and will hear extends also to everything that is known to you. Such dispassion is really very beautiful. Suppose you decide to gain self-knowledge, moksha. You have developed a great value for this knowledge, and you have completely dismissed everything that you have so far come to know as desirable ends. Because they don't solve your problem, you no longer have a value for them, and therefore you have dismissed them. The only thing you want now is moksha. Suppose, however, someone comes and tells you that there is something more interesting than moksha. What will you do? That is, Shothavyasya. Somebody comes and tells, what will you do? Once dispassion can be, then shaky. If you are a practical person, you may have to give up self-knowledge. This means your viveka is incomplete and your vairagya is shaky. Everyone has vairagya until something more interesting comes along. Similarly, our plans for gaining self-knowledge vanish along with our dispassion when we are confronted with something we think of as rosier and more promising than moksha. We give up moksha and go after whatever it is. This is a clear indication that discrimination is lacking. It is not that dispassion is lacking, our discrimination is lacking. Therefore, our dispassion is shaky. I was once asked, what would I do if, having devoted my life to Shankara, a new philosopher came along and dismissed what Shankara had said? I replied that Shankaracharya was a teacher, and I am not a Shankarite. I am a sadhu, a sannyasi in this tradition of teaching, sampradaya. For us, Shankara is only a link. He never said that he was starting a new philosophy. He was just a teacher, a link in the chain. This is reflected in the verse that all the students of Vedanta chant daily. What is that? Who is the first guru? Who is the first guru in the introduction? Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam. Maybe that is one it's referring to. It says, yes, that is one. I salute the lineage of teacher that begins with Sadashiva, which has Shankaracharya in the middle, and that has my teacher at its end. There is no Shankarism here. There is only the teaching and the means of knowledge, pramana, in the form of words called the Upanishads, also known as Vedanta. Suppose someone tries to say something that is better than what Shankara said, or something that proves what Shankara said was wrong. For a person with discrimination, there will be no context for such statements because Shankaracharya says exactly what is said in the Upanishads. They tell you that you are Brahma, that you are the whole. Who is going to improve upon this? Who is going to dismiss it? No one can dismiss it and no one can improve it. Try dismissing that you are the whole. The teacher is very clear about it, and the Shastra is very clear about it. That you are the whole is not subject to your dismissal because you already know that only through the Shastra can you appreciate that you are the whole. How then are you going to dismiss it? It is not available for any other pramana. That I am the whole is already established by the Shastra, and that it cannot be dismissed is very clear. If the statement I am the whole cannot be dismissed or improved upon, I cannot be enticed by a new philosophy which gives me a supposedly better idea about myself. Already the Upanishad has given me the last word. It says, I am the limitless. I am limitless, I am infinite, I am Brahma, I am the whole, I am all that is here. Who is going to improve upon this? No one can improve Satchit Ananda, nor can anyone dismiss it because it is myself. There is nothing better possible. Anything that you are going to come to know later will not disturb your dispassion either. You will have the same dispassion towards what you come to know in the future as you have towards what you know now. Whatever comes will be from the world, which has no independent existence apart from Brahma. Nothing can come from outside the world, and nothing more can come from Brahma because it is one, Eka. Knowing this is what is meant by Viveka, discrimination. Once you do not have moha in you, when your priorities are clear, when your values are very clear, when you understand the delusion of human pursuits, then you will discover in yourself a dispassion, nirveda, towards what is to be heard, shrotavya, and what has been heard, shruta, shrotavyasya, shrutasya cha, whether it is from the Veda or from any other source. This was the point Krishna wished to make very clear to Arjuna in this shloka. Therefore, after coming to Vedanta, nobody can, really speaking, can go to other philosophy. If at all, if they go choose any other pursuits, any other philosophy, it is moha. It means the viveka is not that much there. It is aviveka eva. Because because I don't know, it doesn't mean I can change the truth. It's a lack of clarity. Viveka not there. There's a problem with the pramata, not with the knowledge. So that's very important to be noted. That's what the shloka says. Then the next shloka, it is the shloka number 53. Shruti vipratipannate
Shruti vipratipanade
yada stasyati nischala
yadhastastyati yadhastyati sorry
yada stasyati
yadhastasyati
nischala
nischala yada
samadha vachala buddhihi
samadhavachala buddhihi
tada yogam avapsyasi.
tada yogam avapsyasi.
Shruti vipratipanna Srilinga. Buddhi, qualifying buddhi. Buddhi, your mind is very clear about the goal, the ultimate goal, moksha. Therefore, Shruti viprati, the mind distracted by the Veda, not distracted. Veda, Shruti, when your mind Shruti vipratipanna, the mind no longer will be distracted by what is distracted by the Vedas, because Veda Purva presents various means and various ends. Various means for getting the various ends. Therefore, when your mind is firmly established in samadho is atma. Samyak adiyate yasmin iti atma iti artaha here. And the mind is established in atma, has got nishta in this atma, and it is steady, then tada yogam apapsyasi, then you will get yogam. Yogam means here knowledge. So therefore, Shruti vipratipanna yada tada. Yada te tava buddhihi Shruti vipratipanna bhavati stasyati nischala stasyati samadhu achala nischala stasyati tada yogam avapsyasi. This shloka points out a further gain brought about by dispassion, also sums up the whole teaching. The Veda, the Shruti talks about various means for achieving various ends. That is karma kanda. These means and ends are described so beautifully, so elaborately that one becomes confused. Vipratipanna. There seems to be so many means and ends for me to accomplish, and they keep on increasing. Thus, the list of things to be done also keeps on increasing, and I become confused by the Shruti. So, therefore, however, your mind becomes one, meaning when you have determined what is to be gained, you are not easily shaken by the various means and ends enjoined by the Shruti. Just as any hype about a particular brand of shampoo has no effect on a bald headed person, You will not at all be shaken by anything because you have already set your heart on an end that includes all the means and ends. We have seen that all the means and ends are limited, and that what we are really seeking is freedom, freedom from limitation whatsoever. When we know this, everything becomes very simple. The mind being definite about what it wants, it stays without being shaken, without being assailed, swayed, or swept away by anything, no matter how seemingly attractive it may be. Stasyati, nischala stasyati. Not only is such a mind unable to be swayed, it is single pointed. Eka, eka buddhi, vyasayatmika eka buddhi. Eka with reference to the goal. This attitude of the mind is what is called karma yoga. Karma yogi enjoys this attitude. When your goal is very clear to you, the hold that your raga dvesha previously had on you is released and your mind, buddhi is steady. Shankaracharya defines samadhi in this commentary of this shloka as that into which everything resolves. Atma, samyak adhiyate chittam. Samyak adhiyate chittam asmineti samadhi atma ityartaha. Atmani, 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 when the mind becomes steady in atma, that is nishta in atma, then yogam avapsyasi, then you gain self-knowledge, atma jnanam viti. It thus makes it very clear that the word samadhi means atma in this context. Samyak adiyate chittam. Chittam is well placed in atma. The mind is well placed in atma. The mind is very clear about atma, atma jnanam. Therefore, when your mind is no longer distracted by the various means and ends prompted by your raga dvesha, because the goal is very clear to you, it will remain steady, firmly established in the atma, nischala and achala. Then you will gain self-knowledge, tada yogam avapsyasi. The first line of the verse itself indicates the person is a mumukshu who seeks moksha, liberation. A mumukshu may continue to be in the field of activity as a karma yogi. He or she may take to the life of renunciation as a sannyasi. These are the only choices a mumukshu has. When the mind is no longer stripped away or confused by the Shruti, which talks about various means and ends, it becomes steady and definite about what is to be accomplished, moksha, through the knowledge of the Atma. This steadiness is karma yoga, and karma yogi is a mumukshu. The possibility of doubt. There can be some doubts here. Is Atma always free or is it always bound? Is Atma limited or free from limitations? Is Atma mortal or is it free from time? Is Atma the truth of everything or is it one of the many things in the world? Is Atma the very cause of everything that is created here or is it a product of creation? Is Atma identical with Ishvara or separate from Ishvara? Is Atma separate from every other Atma or is there only one Atma? Is Atma separate from the world or is it non-separate? Does Atma undergo a change to become the world or does it always remain the same, even though it is the cause of the world? These are all the examples of possible doubts, the list in no way complete. None of the doubts is there for a mumukshu. When your buddhi remains without any doubt, vikalpa whatsoever, there is knowledge, jnanam, which is real yoga. Jnanam can be called yoga, and the means of knowledge also can be called yoga. A state of mind also can be called yoga. Here the context doesn't permit us to take the word yoga as simple as karma yoga. It can be only jnanam, the real yoga, which Bhagavan defined later as disassociation from your pain. Disassociation from association with pain, dukkha. Dukkha sanyoga viyogam viti. The sixth chapter, this definition, another definition of yoga. Disassociation from association with dukkham. This means that there is nothing that you have to do except be yourself. You have been associating with dukkha all along because of aviveka, a lack of discrimination that causes you to take on limitations of things that are different from you. Then you say, I am limited. This is dukkha. And it's called the dukkha sanyoga, association with dukkha. Due to lack of discriminative knowledge, aviveka, there is dukkha for you. This association with dukkha is brought about by removing the aviveka, by having viveka between the atma and anatma. When the viveka is very clear, meaning that I know very clearly that everything is myself and that I am free from everything, then there is real yoga, Paramartha yoga. This yoga is called Jnanam, is what Arjuna would gain. Thus Bhagavan Krishna said, Yogam avapsyasi, Jnanam avapsyasi, Moksham avapsyasi ityartaha. Shankaracharya gives the meaning of the word yoga as Viveka Prajna, thus making it very clear that the word yoga in this shloka is nothing but discriminative knowledge of the Atma and Anatma. When true discrimination is lacking, sorrow is the result. Arjuna's first question. Having talked mainly so far about Karma Yoga and Sankhya in this verse, Bhagavan summed up everything he had said so far. The first line, Shruti Viprati Pannate Yada Stasyati Nischala, refers to Karma Yoga. That is, your mind is clear about with regard to the goal, therefore not distracted by anything, not distracted by Karma Kanda of the Veda. The second line, Samadho Achala Buddhihi Tada Yoga Avapsati, refers to Sankhya Yoga. So Karma Yoga and Sankhya Yoga, that's what was discussed, and that is summarized. Having thus summed up, and perhaps thinking that he had done a good job, Lord Krishna might have paused for Arjuna to respond. Arjuna did not say, as he would in the 18th chapter, that all his delusions were gone and that he knew what was to be done and was going to do it. He did not say this until the end of the Gita. If he had said it here in the second chapter, then the Gita would, of course, be over. Krishna would have said Om Tat Sat and completed the Gita. However, since the Gita was a dialogue, Sambhada, Krishna talked to Arjuna and Arjuna asked the questions because this particular subject matter has to be understood, not just blindly believed. There is no use in Arjuna walking away thinking Krishna told me that I am eternal, therefore I must be eternal. A belief requires no explanation at all. You just believe. The only requirement is that the belief be stated. Why people write about belief is beyond comprehension. The belief need only be stated honestly. Stating a belief is exactly what a belief is. If there is something to support the belief, that also can be stated. However, when something is to be understood, it will either remain not understood or it will be understood regardless of the number of books written on the subject. In other words, it can be understood by reading only one book, and in spite of reading every book on the subject, it can remain not understood. Here, the subject matter is a thing to be understood. In fact, Krishna himself will say later on in his dialogue with Arjuna, may you gain this knowledge by asking proper questions. If you ask the right question, you get the right answer. Even if you ask the wrong question, as Arjuna did the next verse, you get the right answer. You may get the right answer. Then the next shloka, where Arjuna asks a question about step prajna, that is about the wise man, about a person having knowledge, wisdom. How does he walk? How does he talk? The prajna lakshana, it is what is called. That is the question. And what is the context? Why does he ask this question? And all these are going to be discussed as an introduction to this shloka. Going to come, that we will see tomorrow. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate.
Om
Om
Shanti
Shanta
Shanti
Shanti Harihi Om Shri
Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo
Namaha
Namaha
Harihi
Harihi Om
Om Dhanyavadaha.
Dhanyavadaha